I should have hit start on there first.
Okay.
Countdown.
It's all good. It's all good. So we're back for the second half of It's a Good Morning here on NTX Radio with Tonya and Coralee. So before we went to break,
we were talking about the flask,
mm-hmm.
the notorious flask.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yesterday's hike. So I introduced the girls when they were here in the summertime when they drove home with me to Deep Eddy lemon vodka.
Okay.
So before I left, they're all like, okay, so when you come back in February, can you check a bag and bring Deep Eddy lemon vodka and the brown sugar bourbon rum or brown sugar bourbon. I don't know. It's out of a place in Fort Worth.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, I can check a bag, but I'm going to look and see, can I get Deep Eddy in Canada? So I start searching. I'm like, wait a minute. It's available in Canada. Not everywhere. Like we had to find it in like little quantities and they don't have all the flavors so anyway, yesterday, because they're all doing dry January.
Yes.
They're not really doing dry January. It doesn't really count on the mountain. And it's not like we're drinking like a bottle or a bunch of drinks. I mean, they drank one flask of Deep Eddy lemon.
And how many of them were there?
There was 4.
Yeah.
So it's like
nothing.
It's like a drink.
A shot a piece.
Yeah, it's nothing really to speak of. Anyway.
Yeah.
I always have to preface that. I'm like, we're not alcoholics. We drink all the time.
I mean,
but we're not.
I mean, well, and so I was listening. So I saw one of the videos,
the boozy eggnog one.
No, but there was one where these ladies are talking. This one friend is like, I'm doing dry January, as the other 2 friends are, partaking, and they're like, okay, so what does it mean, dry January? Like, you're not going to drink at all in January? She's like, no, I'm not drinking at all. I'm not drinking at all in January. And she's like, so you're not going to be drinking at so-and-so's wedding? And she's like, well, I mean, I'm probably going to be drinking at the wedding. And they're like, oh, and so what about so-and-so's baby shower? And she's like, well, I mean, I might be drinking at the baby shower. And then they're like, well, I mean, what about like when you're hanging with a couple of your girlfriends and they want to do a toast? And she's like, well, I mean, maybe. And then so she's like, well, then they're like, let's do a toast. And she's like, well, I mean, I think it's a bad omen to toast with water. And so she pours her glass. So anyway, yeah, I have learned, because alcohol is my thing. And it never was before. Like I didn't drink probably until I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
Now I can't say that. I probably don't go, like, even last night I sat in the tub with a
glass of wine.
No. I have a insulated, like, large bowl that my bottle goes in, and the ice is in the tub, and that whole little thing goes to the bathroom, and it's in the floor, and I have my wine glass, and so then I refill while I'm in the tub. That's what you need for your hot tub.
I mostly just drink coffee in my hot tub. I'm usually there at 7:00 in the morning in the dark.
Cock coffee? What's that?
Hot coffee. What did I say?
In my ears, it sounded like you said cock coffee.
No, hot coffee. Jesus.
I was like, what's that? Anyway.
So yes, Deep Eddy lemon.
Okay. Let's go back to the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. The girls are having Deep Eddy's
lemon, and it was really kind of well. So, Sisterhood of the Traveling Flask.
Yes.
We're on Instagram.
Yes.
It's really quite funny. We make fun of everything, all the things, but we have a lot of deep conversations too. Right. The deep conversations are coming. We'll end up sharing those conversations because there's lots of people out there that maybe don't have those people in their life or they have those people, but they're not ready to go to that level of sharing.
Well, I think it's complicated. The vulnerability.
Ooh. So that was going to be one of my words.
Yes. Of sharing sometimes your life or what's happening or what's going on because
you don't want people to judge.
Number one, you don't want people to judge. And then like I have recently in my life, I love Like, I love my friends, and I love deeply, and I love hard, and I pretty much don't hold back on anything for the most part. But then what I'm learning as I get older, people have told me in the past that your circles get smaller
Mhm.
the older that you get, and I was
Yeah.
like, not me. Like, I got people. Well, I've learned
Yeah, circles.
probably in the past 3 years that my circle is getting smaller, and I'm really okay with that.
Yeah.
Because some people that I allowed in my circle, number one, probably judged, and I didn't know they were judging, became insecure on a few things and
Because of things.
portrayed that on to me, I think.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And so I've lost some friendships. But also too, I think, the Lord grows us, and I've said before, like, people come into your life for a season
Or a reason.
and they're not necessarily supposed to be there forever.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
on that, it's, it's hard when a friend does you wrong or
Mhm.
makes you feel like shit
Mhm.
or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's hard. It is
Mhm.
hard, especially when you're the type of person that, goes out of their way, and is a people pleaser
Right.
and is I'm getting to the point where it's like, listen, you all know I go to Canada all the time.
Mhm.
It's not a secret when I'm
Mhm.
going, when I'm
Right.
there,
Mhm.
like, it's
Right.
not a secret. Anybody in my life, if
Mhm.
they want to know what I'm doing or where I'm at, they can
Right.
look on my Facebook and it
Mhm.
shows them where I'm at.
Right.
If they want to see me,
Mhm. Yeah.
it phone, carrier
Mhm.
pigeon,
Mhm.
text
Mhm.
me, instant message me, whatever,
Yeah, there should be
and
no
make
reason.
plans. Like,
Yeah.
I will say, the last day that I was there, I got the sweetest message. Anita is a really good friend of my sister's, and she's kind of in our hiking
Mhm.
community. And she messaged, said, "When are you leaving?" And I said, "Tomorrow." And she goes, "Okay, can I pick you up and let's go for a walk?" Like, it's as simple as that.
Right.
If I couldn't have,
Mhm.
I couldn't have. I said,
Right.
"Listen, I have to work, but I can go for
Mhm.
my lunch break,
Right.
and we can go and go
Mhm.
for a walk." And we had great conversation. We got in some miles. We got
Mhm.
some fresh air, all the things. But she just
Right.
messaged.
Right.
And then when you have people in your life that get
Butthurt.
I was going to say that word.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you don't reach out.
Right. And which I'm always grateful about
Mhm.
our friendship, because we can
Yes.
go for weeks, months.
Years.
Part of the reason we do the show is because we like
Yeah.
hanging out with each other, but for some reason we can't get our shit together. And
Right.
but
Yeah.
but we can get our shit together for 1 hour. I mean, can you believe we used to do this 5 days a week?
No.
I don't know how we did that.
I mean, I do.
I
And
know we had lots to talk about, and that was
Yes.
great, but I just don't know how we fit it into our schedules.
Well, that's the other reason why we do it so early in the morning too. Right. Like, because we can fit it in and still move on with our day and
Right.
do all the things.
Right.
But no, I do love it. And so that was the other thing too is,
You just lost your thought.
well, I was thinking the other
Okay.
day, I was like, what if we, because things are so crazy, and I've got so many things that I want to do, and with the stores and with real estate and just with all the things, like, should I not do the show anymore? And then I was like, no, because then that goes back to making and carving out the time for you and I to hang out. Plus, this is just a great segue and
we get to talk about the things that we want to talk about, and you know what? If
and
people
if nobody
it,
wants to listen, they don't have to listen.
Yeah,
But they do. Like, they do.
It's
But too, like, it's gonna help. I mean, it helps the store. It's gonna help. It helps. It just is great therapy.
Yeah,
for me.
And we talk about all the things that we're doing, and
Yeah.
whether it's swim classes, time
We're
to
gonna
sign
start
up
doing
for
Hot Works together.
Oh,
hopefully.
yes.
Yes.
I'd like to do that.
I'm telling you. Oh my gosh. So let's see. I've been doing it now.
That's what she said.
Hot Works for, I don't know, a couple weeks. Religiously, faithfully, more better than I was. Because back after you had left me doing the show, I was going every day, and I was like, man,
This was
I'm
back
in the best shape of my life.
22 or
Yeah.
whatever year that was.
Yeah. And so I'm like, it's just good for me. It's good therapy for me. The only whipping is it's all the way in Burleson.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to come.
It's not far from my house.
Every day. No, every Monday. And then, I've just been coming when I close up the store.
Right.
So, yeah. No. So, it's good stuff.
That goes back to having those friends in your life that push you, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
for sure.
You know what? I there's a lot of people that I follow on any sort of social media that, encourage. I love Melissa's talks in the morning, like basically be a kind human, get out of bed, do something good for yourself, like go for a walk, whatever. Don't eat like an asshole. Like, it's that when you fill your stuff, when you surround yourself with people who are pouring into life,
right,
you just catch it, right? It just
and having a good mental
mental's huge.
I was thinking about that on the way here this morning. I was like, man, I mean, I felt good. I mean, it starts my day off great. It's, I'm excited to be here. I'm thinking about all the things that we could talk about, all the positiveness, all of this, all of that. And I was like, man, this is like a good mental thing, right? Because I also told you, like, my son called and we were talking about mother-in-law stuff and legal stuff, and it just got kind of heavy.
Yeah.
And I was like, whew, I'm ready to go back to the positive side of it all. And because you can get caught up in the wrong space.
It doesn't mean we don't
have to do the things.
Right? We all have shit.
Right.
It's how you manage through them, right?
Right.
And you need the positive in your life to it's like a balance, right?
Yeah.
It balances your
I mean, you honestly need 7 positives to outweigh 1 negative.
Oof.
Yeah, think about that one. That'll.
Yeah. So it's like what you listen to, what you watch, what you consume. Yeah.
Well, when you think about how many times we look at it, like, I can tell you how many times I've looked at this screen and this camera going, man, I need to work on them arms. Man, my face is a little bit. Oh my gosh, stop.
Your self-talk is
so important. But I tell that to
so
people
easy
all the time. Coming into
yourself.
Yeah. So I just decided I'm fixing it, right? I'm fixing it.
Or working on it. You don't have to fix it. There's nothing broken. It's just we're enjoying life a little too much.
Yeah. Well, I'm enjoying alcohol a little too much, probably. No, and just everything. But also, too, like, we're older, right? Like, it's different. It's not like I was in my 20s where I could hit the gym for 5 days and lose 20 pounds. Yeah. Not that I had 20 pounds to lose when I was in my 20s, but, still it's different with the hormones and the menopauses and all the crap in our food and just all the things, right? So.
Yeah, but we both try to eat pretty clean.
Correct. Yes.
Although, I did pretty good over the holidays. And in fact, I only partied like a rock star one night. Like I was a 22-year-old rock star.
Man, I think New Year's Eve got me because I woke up like a couple and not like,
New Year's, I was good.
Not like, oh my God, I got wasted or whatever, but I don't know what I did. But man, it was like that scale went like off the chart. Yeah. And I was like, oh, we got to rein this in. Whatever I did, don't do that again.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I only did it once. Like, I feel like this trip I learned from the summer.
You only did what once?
Party like a rock star.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
No.
I forgot what we were talking about. Yeah. I digressed a little.
There's a lot of stuff we don't talk about.
There is a lot of stuff we don't talk about.
And we don't talk about it because out of respect for other people, right? Like,
correct. Well, and to...
I don't want to talk about it. So let's just not talk about it. We're not talking about
it. There are some things some things in our personal lives that not everyone needs to know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If one more
Damn.
person says, "Are you dating?"
It's getting warm in here.
Yeah,
that's nobody's business.
no.
Nobody's business. My son called me just real quickly because
We got 11. We're good.
Oh, we got 11. Okay. Damn, I thought that was like 1.1.
No.
Okay. My son called me a barfly the other night. I was like, I don't think you understand what that means.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
If he doesn't know what it means, or if you are or aren't a barfly.
Okay, so I don't think he understands what that means.
Oh, okay.
Because
Do you know the bartender's name?
Yes.
Do you know all the bartenders' names?
No. Just the one on the nights that I go.
And how many nights do you go?
It depends on the week and what I have going on.
Okay.
Okay, so hang on, because there's a couple of different definitions.
Oh, did you look up the definition of
yeah,
barfly?
I did, because my definition, this is my definition of a barfly. A promiscuous person, especially a woman who frequents bars hoping to find sexual partners. That is not me.
No.
That is not me. So that's when he said, blah, 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 barfly. I was like, no, because I'm going in, I'm having a drink, and I'm going home alone.
Right.
Okay, so...
And you're most likely eating dinner while you're having a drink.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not like you're just...
I'm at Chili's. I'm not at Chance's bar where there's a pole and sometimes people get naked. That's not where I am.
Right.
Okay, and so AI's overview definition of a barfly. This is what I think my son's perspective of it was. A barfly is a person who spends a lot of time drinking in bars, which is still not me. It's just one bar. Especially in excess. An alcoholic, a drunkard, a problem drinker, a drunk, a substance abuser, and a boozer. Okay. Not me, not me, not me, not me, not me, not me, not me. But somebody came in for a to-go order and saw me sitting at the bar, and I was like, well, why didn't they come say
by
hi?
yourself?
Yeah.
Right.
And
can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Sitting at the bar by yourself?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
I don't think it's a big deal. Now,
but not everybody can.
People, right. I do know people there that come watch the games or whatever, on a regular basis. But they're also not there to try to find someone either.
Right.
They're just there because they're single or whatever. Yeah. They're just there to have a beer, watch the game, interact with some people, and go home.
Yeah.
And so I took it very offensive. I was like, I am not a barfly. And he's like, same thing. Do you go to Chili's a lot? I do. Does the bartender know your order before you even walk in the door? And I said, no, I have to walk in the door first. Because one night he and I went.
Does it go, Tonya?
Sometimes. He's like, what's up? And so, but one night Houston and I went. And we sat in because the boys don't sit at the bar with me. They're like,
well, when we went, we didn't sit at
weird.
the bar.
We didn't?
No, we sat at the table.
At the table.
But he did come over and say the usual. And so.
Yeah. So Houston says, well, what do you want to drink? And I said, he's probably going to bring it. But if he doesn't, this is what I want. Sure enough. Before I even rounded the table, here comes the drink. So, but Houston was like, yeah, you've been busted. And I was like, busted? What do you mean I've been busted? And he's like, yeah, you're something about being a barfly, blah, blah, blah. Somebody busted you. And I was like,
you're not hiding it. It's not like you're in some town that's not the town you live in.
Well, and it's like, I'm like, what was I busted? Like, how can I be busted? I didn't do anything wrong. It's not like I'm sitting at the bar macking down with somebody with their hand up my skirt at Chili's. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, no. Anyway, so yeah, one of his friends got to go. She was like, I'm pretty sure I saw your mom. And he's like, yeah, it's probably my mom. She's blah, 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 whatever. And I was like, well, she could have came over and said hi. He's like, well, she didn't know if you'd recognize her. All this kind of stuff. But I was offended.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure my kids just close their eyes and ears and hope that.
But that's the thing. But I'm like, I am not a barfly.
Yeah.
In my definition of what I think a barfly is.
Right. I'm sure that.
And according to the slang of the definition of what a barfly is, that is not me.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my kids are like, what is she doing now? Oh my gosh.
Well, you just like fun shit. Like I want to go to Canada with you. Like I've almost said that several times. I want to go to Canada with you, but I'm like, I'm gonna have to like work on my cardio a little bit before I go climbing up a mountain, because I already heard some of that heavy breathing that they were doing.
That's normal.
I'm like passing out like halfway up. Like,
yeah, it's hard. Hiking's hard. My knees hurt. My hips hurt. Like my ankles hurt. So we went hiking, and then the next day we went ice skating, which I'm just so excited that I have a pair of skates again.
Yes.
But it's hard. Like my ankles hurt. Like I'm scared of falling because, I mean, I did fall epically. Like epically fell. I caught my
pin. Did anybody get it on video?
No, it probably would have gone viral. Yeah. And my sister,
damn it, sometimes I wish people would catch that.
I was by myself. Like I'd gotten ahead and there was a young couple behind me, and she came and she goes, "Do you need some help up?" And I'm like, first thing is like, no, I can do it myself. And then I'm like, no, I can't. Like standing up on skates from being on your ass, not easy. So she helps me up. She goes, "By the way, it was an epic fall." And I said, "Thank you." I woke up with the biggest bruise on my hip. It was, but like skating's hard. Now
I can't. And I'm like, no. Like,
I mean, I'm getting better. Like I got out 3 times. Like the last time that we skated, we did 4 miles on skates.
Okay.
And it was getting a little better, but you're still like, back in the day, I could do twirls and I could do shoot the duck, and like I could do all the things. Now I'm just
your arms like that was like
it was kind of when you bend over and put your arms out and your leg goes up. You're like a T. I don't know what that's called. It's got a name.
It's kind of like almost like a swan thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Not anymore.
Both feet on the ground.
Both feet on the ground.
Okay.
Why was I talking about skating? Oh, it was fun stuff. I was going to tell you about. So I get a picture from my sister, and she goes, "When you find." And it's the lint from her dryer. Do you want to guess what she found in the lint in her dryer?
Well, it couldn't have been ice
because it was googly eyes. She found a handful. Well, because I'm not the only one that keeps them in my pockets. Like everybody, like when I walk out the door, I have a handful of googly eyes in my pockets. My nieces do. We've taken googly eyes to the next level.
Right.
I bought these little tiny cows, and we put them.
Did you put the googly eyes on the cows?
No, they're tiny. The cows are really tiny.
Yeah. Because somebody used ducks.
Well, I did ducks too.
Okay. At the Wright Building at Christmas.
Yep.
And
teeny tiny ones.
Little ducks everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was funny because one day I was like, "There's a duck on this magazine," and it was a pink duck on a pink toboggan on the front of a magazine, so it could kind of like blend in. And so I did think about you and your googly eyes,
and it's just joy. Like the funniest thing is when we went out on New Year's Day, and then 3 days later I get a message from. She's family. She's like my mom's cousin's wife, and she messaged. She goes, "I so enjoyed." On the first, we went out on a hayride, and she goes, "And I have been enjoying finding the little ducks that have been around my house as I'm cleaning up Christmas." And I'm like, "Listen, I didn't do it all by myself.
Right.
I'm an instigator.
Right.
Like I can't. I am an instigator. I am.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Right? No.
Yeah. It's fun stuff.
I do. I have a lot of fun. Life's too short. Like that is part of where I've come to in the last 8 years is it's just laugh till you're crying down your legs. Like
that's what
I'm gonna embarrass anybody else. Kind of thing.
My mic goes limp again. Yeah. No, for real. And I mean, I don't want to know the laughter, the heartaches, the life shit, whatever that looks like. But
And
also,
sometimes it's good to know that you're not the only one going through it. So if
For
we
sure.
talk about it and maybe it helps somebody out,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the end game
'Kay.
anyway. So
And on that end game, that's
okay.
it.
So that's it. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us here on NTX Radio for It's a Good Morning. Hope you have a great rest of your day and the rest of your week. So don't forget to sprinkle a little sunshine and bullshit. Bye. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on NTX Radio for It's a Good morning with Tonya and Coralee. And I can't hear myself.
You can't.
But I think it's underneath the table, and I'm not ready to.
That's what she
I'm not in the mood to crawl under the table yet this morning, so we're gonna hold off on that, and we'll do that at the break. But good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm back in Texas.
In Texas, yes, yes.
This we can't do. I mean, we do okay apart, but
Yeah.
it's just not the same.
It's not the same
as when we're in the room,
for sure. And
we try. We try.
And we were talking a little bit when we got in here before we started. Before we hit, go. That the vibe is like pretty awesome.
I know.
Here.
Look at this. Look at the lighting.
The light. Yeah. All the cool stuff.
Tiff's done a really good job.
Yeah, for sure. And we don't look half bad on that camera over there either.
I know, not bad at all.
Yeah.
January. What is it? January something.
It's January something.
It's January.
Whatever it is. Yeah, I don't think we necessarily want to talk days of the week, but
well, can we talk about the fact of for the last month, I haven't known what day of the week it was to begin with.
Right. Which is not a bad thing sometimes, right?
No.
I think we get caught up in like the day, and sometimes we live our lives to what day it is. And so when you're just, grinding and having fun and
all the things.
Did I just say grinding?
That's what she said. Yes.
But yes. No, I mean, it doesn't really matter what day of the week, right? You just living life and enjoying life and doing the things and hanging with your people. And
it's different when you don't work a standard Monday to Friday kind of gig.
Correct. Right.
Like you don't really need to.
Yeah.
I mean, because honestly, both of us work all the time.
Right.
All the time, but not all the time.
Correct.
We pack in all the things. We could be working on a Sunday. We could be working on a Saturday.
Absolutely.
I mean, I worked this morning.
Yeah.
I worked yesterday morning while I was having a pity party.
Pity parties happen.
I know, but they just suck.
They do suck. But I mean, we all have them.
I know, and it's okay. That's
we all have bad days. We all have bad moments. But it's like what we do with that, right?
Yes.
Do you dwell in it? Does it does it stick around for, weeks and months on end? Or do you give yourself your little pity party? You get up and Because I think really more than a pity party, what you had yesterday is FOMO.
Oh, it was a big case of FOMO. So, you know what I did is I actually made myself a cup of coffee,
Okay.
marched my ass out to my hot tub.
I was going to say, you had some hot tub
and
therapy.
Sat in my hot tub,
Yeah.
and I was still sad about not being on the mountains.
Right.
Um,
I'm loving the sweatshirt, though. Side note.
Thanks.
I have a badass donkey sweatshirt, but that one's super
I know, it's
cute.
kind of cute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My girls, they were up on the
Mhm.
mountain, and although my knees probably were thanking me for the hot tub and not hiking my ass up a mountain.
Right.
It's not easy. Like, I'm 55 and a half.
Mhm.
My knees are 55 and a half.
Mhm.
We're doing shit that 20-year-olds are doing.
Right.
And it's hard and it's exhausting. And most of the time I'm halfway up there going, why am I doing this? Why are we doing this? Man, this is hard. Like, I'm out of breath and
Mhm.
I'm sweating like nobody's business in places that you don't want to talk about. And like,
And the crazy thing is you're sweating when there's inches of snow on the ground.
we're peeling off clothes.
Yeah.
Like, my sister has this be bold, start cold motto, because if you don't start cold, no word of a lie. 5 minutes in, you're peeling off clothes. It's all about layering and having the right layers and all the.
For sure.
Although I came home.
So we're talking. She's been hiking in Canada.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, and she had some friends, and all of her people
They were
are
out
still
hiking.
in Canada, and they're up there hiking, and she's back here in Texas, where
double-edged sword,
the
right?
snow was no snow, right?
No,
so
it was miserable when I got home.
Yeah.
The temperatures are not the same.
Yeah.
But I was thinking yesterday, like, the pity party part of it. I am so unbelievably blessed, but I live in 2 places, right? Like, I spent 3.5 months last year in Canada. Some people are like, why don't you live there? Well, because my life is here and my people I have people in both places.
Absolutely.
Which is a good thing and a bad thing, because when there's no such thing as time travel, or, I don't have a jet.
You're not like Bewitch, where you go twinkle, tweak, and you can just be wherever you want to be when you want to be there, for sure. Which would be amazing, by the way.
Oh, it would be fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we could figure that out, that would be great. But they just make me laugh, and they make me, not that all my friends don't. Like, I am very, like, if you don't have friends that make you laugh till you're crying down your legs,
the
friends that don't make you do hard things, say hard things, talk about hard things, like, just, oh my God, that's what she said.
I mean, I like talking about hard things,
but if you,
I really don't.
If you don't, if you don't have people in your life that are doing that, you got to get them. You just got to have some friends who are going to make you, because as much as it is, man, like, there was times we were playing this game called How Deep Will You Go? And it's actually a really cool game. It's about deeper conversations. But there's that time when you sit there and go, if I say this out loud,
it makes it real.
That's going to make it real.
Yeah.
But, when you spend time, I mean, if you're not making things real, then what are you doing? Like, let's face it, like, life is hard.
Yeah.
And we all go through stuff, but if you've got people in your life that will cheer you on, cheer you up, call you on your bullshit.
Absolutely.
If you don't have those people in your life, you got to get yourself some, because
some new people. Yeah.
They will.
Well, and thing too is like,
but you have to be that person too.
Yes.
Yeah. I call you on your bullshit all the time.
No, and no judgment. Well, and I call you on yours.
You do plenty.
I had a friend call the other day, and she was going through some shit, right? Like,
yuck.
Yeah, like childhood shit, right? Like, hasn't spoken to her father in 33 years.
Ouch.
Siblings that she doesn't know. right? Like this whole thing. And we just kind of talked about it. And my whole thing, we talk about live life with no regrets. And I was like, if and she found out he's dying of cancer. And so, if you don't okay, it's really simple. You've got to ask yourself one question. If something happens to him tomorrow, are you going to be okay? And because really, that's what it boils down to, right? I said, it's not about him. At this point in life, it's no longer about him. It's about you.
Yeah.
You're the one who's going to have to be on this earth, and you're the one who's going to have to go through the rest of your life, whether you go or whether you don't go. And she just was like, you know what? I don't know. And I said, then I hate to be the one to tell you this, but if you don't know, then you need to go. You got to go.
Yep.
And I said, because at that point, if you don't know that whether you're going to regret it or not if you don't go, then you got to go, because the chances of you regretting it and not going are bigger. I said, if you go and it doesn't work out and something happens, or it blows up in your face, or he gets pissed off, or you get pissed off, you know what? You went, you made the effort, and you can live with that.
Yeah.
If you don't go and something comes that you can't live with. And so anyway, she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, that's the best advice that I've been given. And I said, well, we have a lot of similarities. Like, I don't know my sperm donor. Well, I knew my sperm donor, but I didn't know his family. And she's like, oh my God, I forget that. Because my dad is so wonderful, and my dad is my dad, right?
Yeah.
My dad is like, he's my man. So she's like, oh my God, I don't even think about that. And I'm like, right, but I had that, you didn't have that. Right. So it kind of makes that a little bit different. But again, you've got to have people that you can get real with.
Yeah.
And that you can like break down all of the things and know at the end of the day, there's no judgment. Because she's like, I've got so many people that are saying, you got to do this or you got to do that. And I'm, you know what? You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And nobody can tell you what you got to do. You have to figure out, are you going to be okay? And that's the same thing with, I probably shouldn't say this, but with my kiddos being angry with their father, before he passed away. And I remember having a conversation and saying, forgiveness is not for the other person.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is for you.
Yeah.
And I just said, and it was crazy. Like, it was like 3 or 4 months before Mike had passed away. I said, if something happens to your dad tomorrow, are you going to be okay being angry and not forgiving him? That's what you have to think about. And if you're not, then you got to forgive him, because it's for you.
You got to get right.
And sure enough, so when he did pass away, he was like, Mom, I'm okay. I forgave him. And just like a huge, like,
off your mama heart.
For sure. Because you just like, there's so much that goes along with that. And I think in this time, and wow, we just went really deep really fast, and I didn't really mean to,
but yes.
But I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's what, if anybody gets any message ever from us or this thing that we do, it's all about forgiveness.
Yeah.
You got to forgive yourself. You got to forgive
that one's a tough one.
It is a tough
Forgiving
one.
yourself is really hard.
I mean, forgiving ourselves for the things that we do, forgiving ourselves for the things we don't do.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is hard. Yeah. It's so hard.
Well, because you've had to have a hard conversation with people and yourself. And sometimes the hardest conversation is the conversation that you have with yourself.
Right. Well, because, unfortunately, as we think, they don't deserve, to be forgiven, or they did this and they hurt me and could never forgive, or whatever. But then at the end of the day, you got to remember,
they're also just human too.
Yeah.
And humans are messy. and they do and say things, and you throw feelings in there, and right? Like, it's
Yeah.
just life in general is just messy. And, the
And forgiveness is hard. And
yes.
so, but it also is, none of us are promised tomorrow.
Nope.
So, and here lately, like, there's just been a lot of deaths and a lot of different diagnoses and just a lot of yuck. And so, man, it's even more important. But I think sometimes when you learn, and sometimes you have to learn the hard way, but when you learn that forgiveness is not for the other person, forgiveness is for you. Anyway, so there's that. Dadgum, that was free and deep.
I know. We're of an age, right? Like, and I've sort of come to this, I don't know, in a place where I'm going to celebrate it. Like, you know what? I am 55 and I am climbing mountains and I am learning new stuff that hurts my brain, to be quite honest with you. And I'm not afraid to ask. Like, my poor niece, I'm constantly saying, okay, is this dumb?
Right.
Would you do that? Like, can you tell me, how do I do this? Like, this is all on social media and, and marketing, and she's a marketing major.
Okay.
And I'm very grateful that she doesn't look at me and like, first of all, you're old and you're an idiot. Like, she doesn't. She humors me in that, she's gentle.
Right. Well, that's good. I mean, because, we talked about, like, through the marketing and all the things, like, of course, that's the way that it is. And these people making all of this money, I'm like, oh, there's got to be a way to do it. There's got to be something. But my problem is I lack the creative gene.
Right.
Like, I can recreate something I've seen.
Yeah.
But then also, too, like, I've got to be better at just doing it.
And it's that thing of just do it. Everybody else, it's kind of like you get up on stage, like everybody else, if you're speaking, and we have a friend who's going to start speaking, which I'm so proud of her. I've been bugging her for years because she's got a message and she's very powerful and she's got this, and she's got her first speaking gig, which I am like
nice,
super excited about. But everybody around you, like your videos, when you make a mistake or whatever and you just laugh at yourself, you know what? We're all over here going, I'm just impressed that she does it, right? So, like,
which is so sweet, because, like, somebody else said that the other day. They're like, oh my God, I love when you do that, because you just roll it on up and just keep going. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know what else
right.
do.
Life's not perfect.
Right.
And you make mistakes and you say stupid shit. And, hopefully some of the things that you say or do or portray, even if it's one person.
Yeah.
It was really funny. My niece, she's a rock climber, and she also has started ice climbing, which is scary stuff. Like,
ice climbing?
Yes. I'll put a video in the comments after the show of my niece's boyfriend and the ice climbing. Now, my niece isn't doing quite this level, but she's learning. And a couple of years ago, when she first started rock climbing, and she was rock climbing in a gym before going out in the wild.
Yes. Smart.
Her and I had this conversation. She's like, I just feel like there's all these girls in there and they're just so much better than me and they look cute and all of this stuff. And I'm like, okay, but now I've seen pictures of you where you're doing the splits on the side of a mountain on rocks, and you're like, it's only been, I think she's been climbing for a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And now she's leading and she's doing all this stuff. And her and I were talking. So her boyfriend has a YouTube channel that he's gone viral, and it's really fabulous. And it's so exciting to see him sharing. He's just learning as he goes along.
Right.
And I said to her, I'm like, I keep asking her every time I see her, I'm like, so when are you going to put yours up? Because your message is just as important as his, because there's little girls out there that want to do what you do. And you've been through this. I can't I'm worried. I can't. Whatever. And so it was really cute. We were sitting there, and I'm not even sure. We'd come home from shopping at it's Mac. It's kind of like REI. I think they're one and the same.
Okay.
And there's a big Boxing Day sale on, and she was telling me about this leopard print harness. And she was hesitant to buy it. And I'm like, if you love it, and you want to look cute out there climbing, do it. Like, just do it.
Right.
Because,
which is like the best phrase ever. Right?
Just do it.
I know. Like, some people like knocking on Nike or whatever, but that is the best phrase.
Yes. So we
had
to
like come up with something better, but I've been thinking there's nothing better.
No.
Yeah.
So we're having this whole conversation. Well, about, I don't know, an hour and a half later, I get a text from her and she goes, I just bought the harness. And I'm like, I cannot wait to see her in her leopard print harness and her cute, like she's freaking adorable.
Oh, yeah.
And like,
but sometimes we're our own worst critic, and then we just, so that we don't start.
Right. And she started and she's learning and now she's leading. And it's just so cool to see. She twinkles. Like, it's just so, like, I have huge respect for one. I'm telling you, rock climbing and ice climbing in the wild, not easy. Like, scary as shit, honestly.
Yeah.
I might go climb in a
love
gym.
Doing it, at the gym. Well, I used to do 5Ks all the time. And then so we would do and a lot of times at the 5K, they have like the
climbing
the big rock thing. And I loved that. Now, mind you, I was like in my 30s.
Right.
I'm in my 50s.
Yeah.
My body doesn't work the same way. But I loved that. But you're also attached, you know what I mean? Like, and someone attaches you.
Right.
When you're in the wild,
you're using
all
the
using
things.
You and you're that's crazy and scary. But good for her.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's really fun to see. But I like I told her, I said, do all the fashion. She's always dressed super cute. And the really cool thing is she thrifts everything that she's got.
That's cool.
Except some of her climbing equipment. Most of her climbing equipment she gets. Although she found a brand new pair of climbing shoes at a thrift store that had never been worn, and they were probably $250 shoes.
Wow. That's amazing.
But you got to know what you're looking for, right?
For sure.
But anyway, that's free.
Yeah. I love it.
But the whole point of talking about my niece is, don't be afraid to ask. I mean, most of my staff is under the age of, all of my staff's under the age of 25. They're just smarter. Not on everything, but they're smarter in some things.
As far as like the social media thing goes, like, you know, even my nephew that
watches us on the big screen.
Oh my God, I don't know if I've told you, but the other day we were talking, we were at my niece's birthday party. We were all sitting there doing karaoke and we were doing something and I can't remember what he said. He was like, "Oh, well, are you are you talking about the night that you what was it, that you got drunk and then you like, you know," and I was like, "How do you know about that?" He was like, well, you talked about it on your show. So the rest of the family has no idea. And he's like rattling off like verbatim. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, you know, whatever. It was just very funny. But anyway, he's very into it. He's like, yeah, you know, he's like, yeah, all you have to do is like go here and do this. And I'm like, can you just come do it for me?
Yeah.
You know? You know, and then like the girls who will come into the shop and do the little TikToks and the Instagrams and all that. I mean, I tried one and I look like I don't want to say the word that I feel like I looked like, but it was not the best. But somebody was like, "Oh my God, that was so cute." And I was like, no.
Yeah. But again, we are our own worst critics.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
and we just have to do it. Like,
sometimes
take the picture.
You got to do things that are hard and that you don't know what you're doing, because then you never know what you're going to learn or what you're going to do, or better yet, who you're going to influence.
Yeah.
We'll talk about walking after the break, because that's a big thing. I talk about my walking all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's
Well,
just
it's
walking.
therapy for you.
It's
But
therapy.
then it's like it does. I was gonna say it does other things for other people, but
I don't know where that where
that's going. But anyway,
yeah.
So God, nothing. I don't even know
where you were going with that.
Okay, so one of the thoughts that I had was I actually started and came up with like this whole thing 4 years ago. A YouTube channel. I have my logo for it, and there's nothing on it because I wanted to tie in
fear.
Fear
of doing it wrong, right?
I wanted to tie in like living my life, right? I love to shop, so I wanted to like branch out and go to all the different boutiques and show all the things, right? And do all that, and then real estate. I wanted to tie all of that stuff in. I have, and there's not a video posted, so listening to what we're talking about here, I'm like,
so this group of girls, we came up. I mean, we got all the content anyway, so we came up with because there's lots of people that were following us and encouraged and all of that. We were like, why don't we just see where this can go?
Right.
Maybe we can get some travel paid for or whatever. And so we came up with the Sisterhood of the Traveling Flask. And oh my gosh, that flask. If that flask.
So does everyone have their own flask or you share the flask?
So actually everybody does have their own flask.
I was going to say, so because here's my thing. Like, have you seen the flask that has because we're going to like pick up on this after the break, but the like wristlet flasks?
No, I have one that you put in your pocket.
Because here's my whole thing with that. If I take whatever's in my wristlet, like my little bracelet, and pour it in a drink, I got nothing left. I got to go out to that just makes no sense to me. So if I was to have a flask that I carried around with me, it would have to be like, the size of the keyboard or something.
Yeah, we may have carried a bottle one time instead of a flask, the entire bottle, because it froze partially. And
okay. I mean, I remember a group of young ladies about, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, whenever we became friends, doing a 5K with a wagon. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it only 5?
Yeah. It was a 5K.
Seemed like it was farther than that.
Well, we were drinking mimosas at, 8:00 in the morning with our Halloween costumes on.
Yeah. That was, yeah.
But
we've done some crazy
We had
shit.
a couple of bottles of champagne.
Yeah. Drinking.
So anyway, I was just curious if everyone had their own.
Well,
flask
sometimes, not always.
Okay.
We'll talk about the flask after the break.
Okay.
And
Sounds
that's
good.
it. Let's go to break.
Okay. Well, stick around for the second half of It's a Good Morning here on NTX Radio. We'll be right back.
I should have hit start on. I'm going to embarrass.
No, the laughter, the heartaches, the life shit, whatever that looks like. But also
sometimes it's good to know that you're not the only one going through it. So if we talk about it and maybe it helps somebody out,
yeah. I mean, that's the end game anyway. So,
and on that end game, that's it.
So that's it. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us here on NTX Radio for It's a Good Morning. Hope you have a great rest of your day and the rest of your week. So don't forget to sprinkle a little sunshine and bullshit. Bye.